This is Austin. Mission critical. I mean, this is a complete disaster. Um,
It's just awful to see how like
y-
Fujiwara
yeah,
breaks them down. He does not
yeah.
care. He just
Oh,
ruins them.
he's so evil. Uh, so
Would you
I
say he's
figured
evil, necessary evil?
he's a necessary evil. Mm. Is he collared and controlled by the state, though? That's the real question. I
Maybe, maybe
doubt
not.
it. I
I don't
wonder.
think. I think Lin gives him the
Mm.
freedom to do whatever the hell he wants.
That's true, yeah. Lynn runs clearly. Yeah, clearly clearly Lynn is getting a lot of leeway. No, I was like, you know what though? I'm sure for these last two chapters, just Zuzu's got thoughts covered on what's been going on. Oh my lord.
Well, there's a lot that happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't even know where to start. I mean, it's
yes.
obvious to start from last chapter, but like I feel like you guys have gone over that already, right?
Yeah, we did. It's gonna be kind of impossible to talk about this one without talking about the last one, though. It's
True.
gonna be
True.
tough. Before we get into that, Zuzu, you graduated recently. Congratulations on the graduation. Big W.
Thanks. It doesn't
Uh,
really feel like I graduated, but
I,
hooray!
um,
That's
that's how
all.
it goes. Yeah.
I'm free.
You, you know the part of Chainsaw Man where Denji's like, this thing I was always looking forward to, and then when I got to it, it wasn't quite the same.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't really feel any different. It doesn't feel turning. I'm 34 in a couple months.
That's
Man,
crazy.
it does not feel. You know,
Time just flies.
it's true. People are like, how does it feel being over 30? I'm like,
The same.
same as you know, same as
It does not
yesterday.
get better. It doesn't get better.
It doesn't get
Or
better.
does it?
I don't know. Well, there's a variety of takes on that one. Man, was it Natsume Soseki, Japanese author? He famously thought that it was all even in the end. You know, there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. Life is neutral. What a take.
I mean, generally speaking, it is neutral, but if it's like it depends on the perspective of the person, right? If like one lived an awful life, but for someone it's like their dream, right? Maybe they're a masochist or something.
Topical. Speaking of the fucking
Okay,
Chainsaw Man chapter, yeah.
wait, we haven't introduced ourselves, right?
Yes, let us go
Yeah.
through the public. If you're a fan of the broadcast, you probably know who we are, both of us at this point. A
Yep.
rare special event based on really significant planning. This was planned. This was
Yeah,
a
this is
carefully
totally
plotted
planned.
plan.
This was
Yeah,
plotted from the start.
we came up with this idea many moons ago, just like Fujimoto did with the plot recently. You know,
Dude,
clearly
Jimoto's
he had a crazy plan.
foreshadowing is crazy. It's absolutely bad shit.
It's actually been pretty wild. Yeah,
All
that
right, with the introductions, we gotta
Yes,
start.
Zuzu, take it away.
All right, my name is Zuzu. I'm 17. My devil contracts are with the Tomato Devil and the Doom Devil, which is significantly
Doom.
stronger this chapter. So
I mean,
we can all cheer for that one.
The Doom Devil has been gaining power since all of the like weird AI people start talking about the probability of doom. Everyone is afraid of doom now. Spooky
When
stuff.
haven't humanity has been afraid of doom? I feel like there's always been this panic.
There's always been apocalyptic cults. True, true. Man,
Speaking of which,
it's all
speaking of
Chainsaw Man.
which,
It's just all Chainsaw Man, isn't it? End of the day, everything's Chainsaw Man. You
dude,
can't
now that
escape.
I've watched Utena, I'm beginning to think like maybe there's Utena in everything. So
Yeah, yeah, Utena. Everything's Utena. Everything is JoJo. Everything's Chainsaw Man. I think if you got those three,
it just makes sense.
it's just makes sense. It's the three axes of life. Live, laugh, love. Utena, Chainsaw Man, JoJo. I am your host of the show, organizer extraordinaire, Secret Doves. My age is 33, going on 34 soon. Soon to be live from Tokyo. We'll see how I manage to make that
Woo!
work. And my contract is, of course, with the one and only War Devil. Oh, God.
Oh
We're going
yeah.
to hell, Yoru. We're going to hell.
Yoru,
Going to
well,
hell
maybe she's gonna
together.
go to hell once she's defeated, but yeah,
Well, she came from hell, so she's going back,
yeah.
right?
She's a
She's
spawn of
evil.
hell. Well, is she evil
Those
though?
I like.
I think
Mm,
there's actually something interesting about Devils in Chainsaw, which haven't been actually discussed a lot in part two. Maybe it's more like it's hidden in plain sight, but in part one we've really seen that devils just have different morality than with humans, right? Like there's a
yeah.
distinction there.
We saw it with Nayuta a little bit, right? When she
Right.
was discussing with Denji, that was when it sort of the idea. I think that's really the first time the idea ever got openly discussed in the whole series of like
Right.
power talks about it a little bit of like I have like this instinctual hatred for humans. There's something, uh but for Naita it was sort of like just like the just disregard, like how people think of animals, you know what I mean? It's an interesting, I don't know, kind of almost vegan take on evil, where the way devils think about humans is the way humans think about other species. It's like it's
Hmm.
okay for me to kill them. Like I can crush as many bugs as I want because I'm a person. They're bugs. It is what it is,
Oh
right?
yeah. I
I'm a
think there's
devil.
also something interesting, like devils have this animalistic almost
Hmm.
instinct, but they're not animals. They still have
No,
like a human understanding of things, but not
yeah.
the morality.
I
Maybe
mean
that's the
that
thing. Maybe that's the
this
thing.
this is a
Animals
very
don't have morality either, right?
uh probably not. Maybe not. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Uh, Another big philosophical question coming through. I think most people would say no, but probably some people would say yes. That's a tough one, but at
Right.
least from Chainsaw Man perspective, it you know Fujimoto sort of, it's interesting because most of the time with like the monsters in this kind of shonen, there's some sort of like inherent battle, right? Like there's a reason that the monsters are fighting or something, or they're
Yeah.
just like mindless monsters, so they just kill,
There's
you know?
like an inherent goal or a villain
Yes.
at the end.
But for Chainsaw Man Devils, they're all sort of like individuals, and they're it's like he just imagines them as a different species of conscious being with like a different
Yeah,
culture and
exactly.
society.
Exactly. I think you're onto something really big. That's exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, he's so good at doing character subjectivities, which is something that really annoys people, I think, because he really carefully tracks like what every character knows about each other and how they think about things and how they would, think
Right. Yeah.
through the facts of the story, but then we know everything. So we're like, why don't they understand?
I mean, it's crazy. We do see their perspective, so like it should make sense. We shouldn't get really that mad, right?
Yeah, yeah. Everything makes sense.
It
Everything
does.
very meticulously makes sense, but it's still so frustrating to watch. Okay, enough dancing around the issue. Let's talk about
Right.
chapter.
Chapter 168.
Chapter
Well,
168. I don't want to read this fucking title.
I don't
Kiss,
think we have to.
love, sperm.
Or
I gotta say something about this title.
yeah, it's
Spit.
a song.
Yeah, it's maximum the hormone reference,
I
not
looked at the
the.
lyrics and like they're crazy how they match Denji's perspective almost.
Yeah,
It's not like fully matching his perspective, but I think it's like very in theme for the chapter, right?
yeah. I mean, if you listen through Hormone's discography and you read Chainsaw Man Part Two, and you go through the lyrics, you'll be like, okay, I see. He's just putting everything he likes in it. Like he's just
Yeah.
jamming everything in there. He doesn't give a fuck.
What is his issue?
What's his problem? Yeah, this is a hormone maximum hormone reference. It's very easy to tell because sperma, the word, the Japanese term he used is not really a Japanese term that's used. Uh, that is, I saw a lot of Japanese fans being like, "What does that mean? What is that?"
Oh, oh,
Because
so
that,
not an English term, right?
yeah, he
Oh,
used the katakana English, which is a reference to the hormone song title.
I bet he looks up Twitter every single day to look what the English fans are saying about him. I'm so convinced about that right now. I'm so convinced.
I think he scrolls. Yeah, I think he scrolls Chainsaw Man stuff. I mean, he in an interview he talked about how the fan artists are like all better than him.
Right, I remember that.
And it's like, okay, so you're scrolling the fan art. I see. Uh huh. Yeah, you're probably scrolling other stuff too. Looking at my theories and being like,
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah,
dumbass.
yeah.
This fucking dumbass.
Oh, laughing at all of us.
She
Oh
should.
man.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
It's just controlling the fans however he likes. It's crazy.
Oh, God. Do we have to talk about this fucking chapter? Okay. Yoru.
Yeah,
Uh, this
we
was
start.
this was uh
It
this is a
was.
really interesting direction to take the chapter. I was not as dramatic as many people had imagined, but it was also not as what would you say flippant as other people imagined. It was a little bit in the middle of what
Yeah.
everyone had been expecting.
I think Fujimoto can balance out these topics well. Like maybe it can still like feel a little bit underwhelming, but when it hits, it hits. I think what's happening here in this chapter in particular is like a delayed reaction, especially from Asa. Who like she says like I'm too hungry for this, so there will definitely be some kind of meltdown at the sushi bar. Like I'm so sure. I'm so sure. There is no way
It's gonna
Fujoru
be
is
a
letting that happen.
mess.
I'm
It's gonna
like
be a
there has
mess.
been this kind of trend in part two that something happens like really, really significant, but it gets an underwhelming chapter after it. And then 10 chapters later, something like there's an impact from
Yes,
it.
it's
Or like maybe 20 chapters later, or even like especially with the kiss, right? From last chapter.
yeah.
And we got finally a proper impact of
Uh
it.
huh.
And
That
it hits.
which is just an insane impact to do with that. By the way, how long?
How long has he been holding on to these
Yeah.
ideas, right?
What was
That's what
he
I'm thinking
like?
right now.
I'm gonna. It's a really interesting. Okay, okay. This is your chapters. My contract is with the War Devil. I have to do some Yoru posting here.
Defending?
Defending.
Oh,
No,
well,
no, no,
no, no,
no,
no. Go ahead, roll, sir. She
no,
deserves
no, no. Yoru, she is evil. She commits acts of evul. She did an evil thing because she's a devil. She does
it.
not give a shit. She does not care about Denji's feelings, which is, of course, the core problem with everything that went down.
Yeah, she
She's
doesn't
gonna
care
be down.
for Asa's autonomy. She just does what she likes, and like if it feels good, she'll do it.
That okay, exactly. That's what I want to say because uh, friend of the show reaction, uh, was maybe going to be on the episode, but it didn't work out this week. Some European chick did a reaction to these last two chapters together. Very nice stream. She she really gets it. She gets everything that's going on when she reacts. So I highly recommend those. If you do not already check them out, she's got great takes, good reacts, good banter. But she noted that dude, yours, she's like she's sprung in the 20 in the early 2000s terminology. She is caught up. She likes this dude. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? She's she's pretending, she's fronting, but
I think it's a bit of both, right? It's both a little bit hedonistic. Well, a little, a little. I
it's
wouldn't say it's
very
a little.
yeah.
She's very hedonistic, but I think it's both Asa's feelings affecting her, and maybe like she actually starts to like him. Look at how she just screams, "I only kissed you because it felt good." Like
No, but like
I don't think anyone would like.
she didn't like him earlier on. Everything,
Right?
all these arcs, everyone's like these arcs are so random. Everything fits. She didn't like him at the beginning. She was like, I don't need your human form.
Yeah,
Get Chainsaw Man out right the fuck now, you dumbass. Like, I don't give a shit about you, Denji. And now here
yeah.
she is. He's curled up in a ball. And he's like, help me. I've been assaulted again. Oh my god, it's the worst
Jesus.
of all time. And then she, like, gently kisses him again. It's like, what the fuck? She's she's losing it. She's caught up. She's
Absolutely losing. Like, look at how at the expression she makes before she kisses him again. Like, girl,
yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. And the thing is, that's all Yoru. You know what I mean? Asa's not in there right now. You
Right.
know, Yoru's in the driver's seat. This is all her thing. And the kiss she remembered from before was not a Asa and Denji kiss. It was a Yoru and Denji kiss. Yeah, I mean, it was that original one that first sparked off to like, oh my god, Asa can't consent to the shit Yoru does. Oh no, that's so
Yeah.
evil. It is. It's so evil. This guy's such a fucking Fujiwara's just a sicko.
It's interesting because it's like generally it was Yoru who wanted to kiss him, right? And she was the one who remembered.
Right. It was back then. It was like her devious plan, right? That
Right.
then Denji was like, don't kiss me because that's one of the rules." And she was like, I'm gonna do something evil. I'm so devious. Let me kiss this guy and then I'll turn him into a sword. You know what I mean? So evil.
And Asa's caught up in all of this. Like, she doesn't even get to say that.
But they didn't remember the whole thing, which is such a, like, to set
I
up,
think it's a good setup. There's gonna be more to come, right?
right, to set up that, like, in that first kiss, which was like, oh, crazy. You set up the thing with, like, oh, Asa loses her autonomy. This is actually really crazy and weird. And then to bring that exact thing back,
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way back here, and to do the full horror right here, have Asa forget about that, and then do arcs,
Evil.
the whole development of like, oh, we all love Asa and Yoru together. Oh my god, sisters. OMG, they're best friends now. We love it. Oh, I just want to see them fighting
I
together,
don't. I
And
think
then,
Fujimoto really made everyone forget about their issues.
yes! And then he fucking, he brings it back and just crushes your soul. God damn,
Yeah,
dude. Fuck. It's so good. It's
it
so
really is.
good. Uh,
It
the
really it demonstrates that they're not really they haven't really talked, right? They haven't really figured out their issues at all.
mm-hmm,
Like,
exactly.
thank you, Fujimoto, for noticing that you haven't written a single arc about them. Thank you. That was like in the
Well,
most
okay.
evil way of things. Thank you, I
I
guess.
think I think
It was planned, probably,
I
but
think
still.
it was intentional to achieve
Yeah.
this effect where if he does an arc where you like see the 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 tension and like if he writes it out explicitly, then the audience is going to pick it up that like, oh, they're getting closer, but there's something wrong about it. You know what I mean? Oh, this is
Yeah.
not, you're going to, obviously he's going to put that in there and you're going to get that feeling. But since he skipped it, we, the audience, we could delude ourselves. You know what I mean? He gave us the room to believe it could be good. You know what I mean? Like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. They're sisters, right? Like, please, please, no.
I
Oh,
think that's the problem. I think people, well, I do perceive them as kind of sisters, but at the end of the day, Yoru is like a parasite, right? Yoru is
yes.
just living off of Asa, and even if Asa does achieve her wish of being more selfish, like by having her body get used by Yoru, it's still not a solution that's right for her, right?
Right. And Exhibit A, right? These two chapters. Like, this is
Yeah.
not good, guys. Asa. If Asa then can be salvaged, okay, Suzu, let's talk Asa then.
Salvage.
Is there any
You
hope? Is it over?
Is it over? I
Is
think
it
it's
completely
not
over?
over because the story hasn't ended yet. That's what I think. But it's not only because of that, it's because I think it's a crucial part of the development, right? It's like it was always going to happen. There was always something like
Yeah.
that was going to happen in the end or like in the middle of their relationship. I think it's very fitting now that it's presented, especially in a way like this. And like they go to sushi
Yeah.
after, right? It's very reminiscent of their first date where Denji offers starfish and again about the seafood. There's
Mm.
I know. And
Uh-huh.
there's
Yes, yes,
moment
yes.
kind of chapter about like the sperma. I don't even want to talk about it because Fujimoto, that's sickening. That's sickening, absolutely sickening.
He's so gross, dude. I mean, he had to do
Yeah,
that. He had to do the Ava reference though,
I think
right?
it's
He had to
some
get the
kind of
Ava in.
allegory for maybe intimacy, maybe something like that. I think
Ah, I'm gonna.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
just gonna. I'm
waiting for
gonna leave
this
that all
chapter
for
to
you
come
out.
out, and if neither of Tenji and Asa eat that sushi, then I'm calling it. It's like some sort of metaphor or allegory for intimacy. Like there's the same with like birds, right?
Oh, you mean
There's
the
a lot of
sushi? Okay,
yeah,
let me put that off to the end. We'll talk about the sushi at length at the end. We'll come back. We'll
yeah.
come back to the sushi. I do have lots of thoughts on that. I have a
I
lot of
think
thoughts on that.
really,
Um.
really, that's gonna
Oh
be fun.
my. Yes. Oh yes. Austin. Okay. Here's what I say. Here's what I say. Many people are like upset, disappointed that this happened again, right? Like, why is Denji gotta be? Why is it gotta go down like this again? Why do we gotta have the essay again? All right.
Right. I was also frustrated with that because, well,
I
it's
mean,
been so
kind
many times
of
already.
so many
What's
times.
the point?
Okay,
But it is the point,
let me put it to you this way,
right?
right? This is, you know, I think there's a blurb. I don't think it was an interview, but there's a blurb he put out before part two that he was like, "Let me enjoy my different take on the femme fatale in part two."
Oh,
That's the blurb he's put out, and
really? I didn't. I haven't read it up.
and
That makes so much sense now.
it does, and part one is kind of a sequential romance. I have a video about how it's like a shoujo rival romance, right? Where a bunch of like, you have the Makima Denji OTP at the beginning, and then a bunch of rival women show up, and they all get,
Yeah.
Makima kills them all, and then Makima and Denji have their final, horrible conclusion as the OTP of Chainsaw Man. But it's a
Well,
romance
it's not
where,
really an ODP. It's more like a subversion
right?
of
It's
this.
a femme fatale romance sequence, right? It's a romance sequence where all the women are bad and trying to kill you.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. But right? And well, here we go again. You know what I mean?
Again,
Same.
for the 10th time. Yeah,
Yes.
thanks, Fujimoto. We know
Asa.
what you like to write, Fujimoto.
Yeah. Asa's like a culmination of this sequence of femme fatale romances, right? There have been a lot
Yeah,
of,
in a way. But that's the interesting thing that she's centered around the story. There's a different perspectives around it.
yeah,
Like,
we get her perspective, right? The
right.
whole, yeah,
Just when you
exactly.
think it's like some kind of trope of a film fatale, like maybe you're a fan that reads in the middle of part two, right? And you see what Yoru does and what like Asa
Yes.
speaks of. You would think that she's like a femme fatale or like a mean girl. That's maybe it's tsundere. I don't know how to
Oh yeah.
explain it otherwise.
We got some
We get her perspective, like we see how much she struggles, just like Benji, right? There's a lot of parallels between them.
yes, yes. The uh you know, that's what, if he wanted to give us a really interesting take on the femme fatale, he's doing it because we have the two sides of like the deadly relationship, right? Like that's like the femme
Yeah,
fatale. I guess fantasy is like a hot woman that kills you or something, right? Like that's
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is. But we're getting it both ways. We have, right, both of our characters are caught in this romance that is
right. And
catastrophic
both are
for them.
suffering from it.
Uh-huh. And like very similarly in like a reflection, in a reflected way.
Yeah,
There, and Yoru is the medium of that makes it lethal, right? because she hates Chainsaw
Yeah.
Man, and Denji is Chainsaw Man. Warsaw is the underlying ship which sits beneath the surface of Asaden and transforms it into a tragedy, which is what we get
Yeah.
here.
I
But
think it's more than that. Warsaw is it depends on us and Denji to exist, right? It's like
yes,
they're both relationships depend on each other to exist,
yeah,
and it's what makes them work and what destroys them. It's
yes, he's cooking.
Chainsaw Man and Yoru both take autonomy of like of Denji Nas respectively. It's like
Yeah, when
not
Pachita goes black,
necessarily.
Pachita mode, right?
Yeah, with Pochta, it's a little bit different because it's the society that takes a hold of Denji's autonomy, right? It's the public safety that takes control
Yeah,
of his body
yeah,
and his uh, ideas or what he wants the public to see him as.
right.
But Asa, the conflict is internal. She's like she's caught up in the middle of her own desires, right? And uh what she has to do
Yeah,
to
and
survive.
for Denji, and this is a really great like gender commentary for Denji, the guy. It's all
Yeah,
of these
yeah,
like, you know, he can run around, he can swing his chainsaws if he wants, and then it's sort of like the stratification of society and the power structures that be that will come and punish him should he go too far. You know what I mean? But within the
yeah,
narrow bounds of what is allowed as normal, he can do what he wants. But Asa, she completely loses control, right? She directly loses all control of her body just to
yeah,
live. It's
yeah.
so fucking Ugh,
Oh, the
I hate
society
this.
commentary is so good. The
It's
gender
so
commentary is
good.
crazy.
He's cooking. He's cooking.
Amazing. And to see how they parallel each other, it's like I feel like it's an ultimate form of it, maybe. Like maybe not. I'm not sure about it, but I think there's something interesting about it that they're parallel each other in such a way.
Well, okay, I said that like Asa was like a culmination of this sequence of
Yeah,
people, and like these last two chapters have been sort of that, like a strong restatement of that. That like Asa, Asa Yoru specifically, right? Yoru fits into the dynamic of the women who've been in Denji's life thus far. But
yeah,
the difference is Asa's feelings, right? Because
yeah,
all the other women, they were there to kill Denji. Maybe not Himeno, but like they didn't really care about him, right? Like, you know,
yeah. They
this
did
was,
it for their own for their own motives, right?
yes,
And
they're
so
just,
and so does Yoru. She does it for her own enjoyment, for her own
yeah,
motives.
but she
But
actually feels something, right? Like,
right,
there are
right,
real feelings there, even though it's still bad, everybody. This is not any sort
right.
of apologia. Very
Is
horrible
it
shit that she did. Super evil. But
well,
the
I think it's
motive is
important also
different,
to
right?
talk why it makes it so evil, right? It's because it's not just because it's evil a crime, but because of Denji's perpetual
Yeah.
trauma of it. He's
Yeah.
getting used. Like he was literally talking about how he's suffering from what Makima said to him, from how he was treated, from this notion that he created in his head, right?
Yeah. And he
From
had
the
just
society.
like physically relived that like grooming shit Makima did to him. Damn, dude, Fujimori, you're so
Yeah.
fucked up, dude.
And the first thing he says after being kissed again is, "Do you like me?" He doesn't even care about the pleasure of it. He just I feel like he still hasn't understood that
Well,
all he
okay.
wants is to be loved, right?
I
He
gotta
still
say,
thinks it's like a drive thing.
speed for the boys here. It's not gonna be that good. I mean, this is not.
Yeah.
This is not a great. This is not a great one. This is not ideal. This probably didn't. Didn't feel that good. But he's after the intimacy. You know what I mean? He's like, he really. I mean, that's what he's so desperate for. His original dream, man. He just wants to play video games and get hugs with girls.
Yeah.
That's all he wants, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's all he wants. It's It breaks
And
my heart to him like that.
of course, Yoru has to fucking go back tsundere here. I don't like you. Like, this is not the time for being tsundere, Yoru. What are you doing?
And
Oh
then
my
she looks
god.
away and says that only the other me likes you. Like, Yor was the one who said, "Don't talk about me" to us, but here she is, almost exposing her identity. Like, she was trying so hard to defend herself, she didn't even notice.
she's she's so cooked. She's completely fucking cooked.
Yeah.
This is the least convincing tsundere act of all time. After you literally just like went in for another kiss for no reason.
Like, okay,
You're
he
so
was staring at his
Yoru.
lips.
What is
Like,
wrong with you?
I gotta kiss him. Girl, what's happening? Oh my god.
I mean,
Poor Ben.
she's never felt anything like this before. You know what I mean? Plus, she's
Don't say
evil.
it like that.
This is a disaster. The War Devil is in love. The Earth is
Oh.
doomed. This is it's
Is the Earth
it's
doomed or is
over.
Denji the only guy doomed?
I mean, I think those are equivalents in
Interchangeable?
Chainsaw Man world, right?
Well,
He's the
to
only
be honest, yeah.
like him and Yoru team up. Chainsaw Man, War Devil, some kind of something is the only hope for humanity against the apocalypse now. So
Is
everything
it really?
rides on
Is it really
Warsaw.
though? I
Of
feel
course,
like it's not. It's a lie from Fami. Maybe
you.
or maybe that the problem is that she doesn't. Maybe she just doesn't tell enough, right? She's just
Yeah,
hiding the information.
I think it's the lies are lies of omission here. We're gonna see that everything she said is technically true, but the underlying reality is like really horrible, right? Some
Yeah, that's what
other
I think too.
hidden thing. I
Everyone's
still have no
trying to
clue,
say
man.
like, yeah, I don't think I know. We really can know Fami's plans, but I don't like how people say, no, Femi wouldn't do that. She's not a mastermind. She's a little apocalyptic devil. What do you think? Would she really only do that because of
Okay,
food? Right?
walk with me here. We're getting to the
All
end
right.
game. Let me go theorist mode. Asa then is Fami's plan.
I think, yeah. I
Look at
agree.
it.
I mean,
Look at everything she's done. It's like everyone's like, "Oh man, she she keeps messing up her plan. She could have like killed them or whatever, but then it doesn't work.
but
She
that's
doesn't
the
want to kill them.
intention. She wants them to work together, right?
She she wants them. She's shipping them. This is an up.
She's
This is
shipping them.
yeah. This her plan is to ship Warsaw, and somehow that is the key. If the War Devil falls in love with Chainsaw Man, then something. That's what I believe at this point. Because like,
Interesting.
she came in to Asa's apartment and she was like, "Let me help you get with the
Yeah,
guy you like, who
yeah.
is Chainsaw Man." You know what I mean?
she was so being so generous, like
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna ship
from
you guys.
family who's like an apocalyptic devil.
Mhm.
What does she get out of it, right? I feel like Asa haven't been asking that enough.
I mean, the obvious thing from the first illustration is that the War Devil falls in love with Chainsaw Man, which means if they fall in love together, then the War Devil can turn Chainsaw Man into a weapon. You know, Super
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man chainsaw. And because, you know, he likes her, and then because she actually likes him, she'll be guilty. She'll be very sad. And so the weapon will be super duper strong.
She wants War to feel.
That's right.
Interesting.
This was her plan. This horrible back alley incident. This is what Fabi was cooking. You know?
I don't know. I feel so awful for Asa and Denji. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they don't deserve any of that
That's
happening to
right.
them.
They do not. That's
The way Denji just sits there by himself, like he's looking at the water and like nothing has happened, right?
he's so devastated. He's
Yeah.
so devastated right now because like this was legitimately his reason to live, right? Like
Yeah.
he 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 was hanging by a thread this whole time because of how horrific part 1 was. And the only thing that was hanging letting him hold on, which is what, you know, he went through at the end of part 1 was like
Yeah.
he just wants to get it. He needs to do it.
I don't think that's what he wants. I think it's the promise of intimacy, of love.
Right.
That's what he
I
wants,
mean,
really.
that's what he truly desires, but that's not what he
Yeah.
thought. You know, he had
I mean, he still
crafted.
talks about like maybe he still talks about sex like it's an inherently like he wants it to be emotional. He wants a
Yeah,
connection, and he
yeah,
talks about it like it's beautiful. Like,
yes,
but what happened
yes,
to him wasn't beautiful.
yeah.
It was awful. It was
But
dirty.
this is not it, right? And so now he's here, and his perspective has obviously he just got assaulted, so he's in
Yeah.
shock and of that. And then on top of that, this is a like violation of the worldview he had built to tenuously hold his entire fucking, you know,
Yeah.
his
It makes
entire.
sense why it'd be just shell shocked almost from what
He's
happened to him.
the layers of this, and he was just thinking
Yeah.
about it. Dude. He was literally just exclaiming like, "All he wants to do. I just wanted to have sex. I'm such a fucking piece of shit." And now here
Yeah.
he is, sitting in a fucking dirty alleyway. God damn.
After the assault. And it's like he probably blames himself too. That maybe he enjoyed it, maybe something like maybe that's what he wanted. Or maybe like the girl he
Right.
likes, like
He
remotely likes, she just
right.
told him she doesn't like him.
Yeah. Oh god.
I'm not sure if
Yoru,
he
what the hell
understands
is wrong with
Yoru's
you?
explanation of the other me likes you.
What? No, yeah,
I
that
don't
makes
think
no fucking sense. He doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. He's like, oh, she's crazy though, but yeah, you know, just another crazy woman in his life. Nothing new there. Someone did make a comment that like this has happened a lot to Denji. This is not the worst aftermath. You know, he's not dead, right? He hasn't died this
yeah, but
time.
maybe
But
it's worse, kind of,
I mean, maybe
because he's
yeah.
left with like no answers. He's left
Mm,
alone, and like I was already expecting
unfamiliar
it
pain.
to be,
Ooh, you.
yeah,
Oh, that's
I was
sad.
already expecting maybe Asa to run out, like, out of fear, out of what happened, and just leave him be, like, alone and guilty and, like, maybe ashamed.
Mm,
And it still happened,
yeah.
even though it was, like, Yoru tried to tell him Asa does like him. Like, all he can hear is, I'm not loved. This was, like, someone used me again. Right?
Yeah. Who we don't know how he's interpreting it. Again, we have the part
Like,
2
okay, I'm
mega
speculating, right?
frustration of we we're almost never get Denji's interiority. Yeah. Maybe we'll find out at Sushi. But yeah, it could be. He could be blaming himself. He could be I mean, he could be genuinely heartbroken, like you mentioned, that like for the awfulness that was going on. I mean, Denji is has like incredible resilience to trauma because of his
Yeah.
horrific life. So, you know, here he's got this one last hope. He's like, well, that was fucking crazy and sucked, but maybe she likes me. Like maybe she's doing it. It was kind of there was kind of a
Yeah, it
vibe in there.
was.
Maybe she likes me. Nope.
I think, like, he was ready to accept what happened to him if she liked him, but it was all for nothing.
I guess in that way, it's like good that she rejected him, so he didn't do that. You know what I mean? So he'd be like,
Yeah, I
no, this
guess
this
in
is
a way
terrible,
it is.
right? So he can have that ultimate reckoning of like, this just sucked. This was not good. You know?
Yeah. So he doesn't, like, delude himself that he has to be hurt to be loved.
Yeah, yeah. That this was just a cruel, cruel, evil act by the war devil. Ugh. Starting,
It's yeah.
start the list. Double homicide, sexual assault. Let's keep it rolling, folks. What horrors will we
What
be?
hasn't she done yet?
I mean, the apocalypse
Well,
hasn't even
you know what? I'm
started.
not gonna ask that because
Yeah.
Furuto's probably listening.
Uh huh.
He'll be
You
like,
don't want to
"All
know.
right, let's see."
Oh yeah.
I don't want to see anymore.
Let's talk about Asa and Yoru before we get to Sushi here.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
man, this scene caused quite a discourse.
Yeah,
Quite a
yeah, I've
discourse.
heard about it. I personally also, like, I also had something feelings about it. I think it would be nice to add translation notes. Like, it would be nice. It would be very nice to add some translation notes.
Yeah, Viz has done away with translation notes, but this one could have used one for sure. It's a tough one. It's not that inaccurate to be honest, based on how the term is used, but
Well, yeah,
it
from
misses
what I've seen.
some important context. Although, what would I what I say? I do sometimes feel like people are like, we need a big, we need every flashing sign that it was assault because just because of how fraught the discussion gets about assault, which is like a
Yeah,
fair point to want because of how bad people's understanding of these issues is, but also
I
like
think it's also from what Chainsaw-man's been treating it like, right? With Fumiko and a lot of other stuff, especially with Himino. Okay, I don't think anyone else moved on from, like, the acknowledgement of what happened.
yeah, I mean it's in there, but it's also like
It's ambiguous.
I don't really agree with that.
No, is it?
Well,
I feel like it's not
you know,
hard enough from that fact. What
I
happened?
guess the title of the chapter where Himeno barfs in Denji's mouth is minor.
Well,
Like it's pretty like he's pretty upfront about it, and then he circles back around to it at the end. But Yeah, it is such a fraught topic that I think there's a lot of people who will willfully ignore stuff like that. So, there's a desire for it to be really just like bam, 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 slammed over your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand the trepidation, but I mean,
What do you think?
there was, well, in chapter 167, there's the moment where then she says, no, don't do it. And then Yoru does it. And then she says, I don't care about your feelings. And it's like, okay, well, this is
I think that was obvious enough.
yeah, this is as clear as you can possibly make it without like, again, putting like the big bright flashy sign of like, this is what's going on, everybody.
Yeah.
But still, it is such a fraught and important topic in sighting culture. But that's also, I think, why he uses it. Like, people are like, he doesn't have to do this, but what could Yoru do that would really make people like hate her as a character?
Oh.
That would really make people mad as a character, because like people are pretty much
that's what he's trying to do.
I mean, people are so desensitized to like everything in fiction, except for like a handful of things that really still have impact because of their place in culture and like the problems that surround them. So he takes on those issues directly because it's gonna make people feel some real shit, right? Like they're gonna get really mad,
I think, yeah.
Not just like abstractly like, oh, she did a bad thing, she's evil now. Like make you feel mad at her actually, like she's doing something that is real.
Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe you have a good point. It's also just, it's a good demonstration of how overtaking the body, right? It's a violation of what Yoru is essentially here for. She's violating Asa's body and everyone else's body, because like from the first chapter of part 2, she's already using everyone as weapons.
Yep.
That's like violating the body, right?
Yes, she's
and
very
this
evil.
theme continues to happen like all over part 2 with Asa especially.
Yeah.
So it's fitting. I think this was like inevitable that it will happen. A subject that will inevitably be touched upon, like other than the kiss, right?
Well, yeah, it was lingering, it was lurking.
Yeah.
He made the, all of these episodes are going so long because these 2 chapters have been so.
I think they're dense. They're dense. They're really dense with the reaction.
Dude, this is Chainsaw Man. These chapters are so dense. There's probably like less than 100 words in this whole chapter, and yet so much. This is how the writing has been working in part 2. Like you said, it's like everything is building.
He's doing the layers. He's doing the character motivation.
He's doing
so fucking much.
An insane amount of setup and an insane amount of setup, and it's crazy because normally if you do a lot of setup, if you set a lot of things up, like if you're writing mystery, right? If you put like a lot of clues, people are going to figure out what's going on, right? He's been doing so much setup and we have no idea what is even happening, Like I just shot
random events, but like, is it though?
No.
It's just setup.
It is not, dude. Like he's got the fandom right where he wants them. Like this is so everyone is so they're in this weird state of denial. He's absolutely completely gotten everyone. Everyone has had their hopes dashed against the rocks and now they've just given up. They're like, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Whatever, man. Like,
I feel like that's really like, are you really giving up that quickly? I mean, maybe it's because I've read some maybe tougher works like maybe especially exploring relationships like this from Shuzo Shimi, Welcome Back Alice,
yeah.
and
Oshimi
Flowers of
stuff's like
Evil.
this.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like they're talking with each other right now. Like they're discussing plans about the next chapter.
You,
So messed up. So messed
I
up.
would. What amount of money I
I
would
would
pay
die
to
for
be
a
a
manga
fly?
where
We need
where
an Oshimi Fujimoto collab
yeah.
interview.
Dude, we have. We
You hear
must
that? You hear that, Japanese manga media? Get these freaks together, and you will get some of the
get
worst.
these things together.
You can get some of the absolutely most disturbing and upsetting interview responses of your career. This is your shot. Make it happen.
Please
I'm
make it
putting it
happen.
out into
I would
into
die
the
for it.
universe. I'm
I would pay
manifesting.
millions to see it happen. I want to
Oh,
see. I want to see their thought process together,
oh
and
God.
especially the way they explore gender. I don't think I'm ready for that, but I want to see it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gonna it's gonna be like, especially with Lashimi. I think it's a perfect match.
It would be quite the combo. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh Asa and
When I
Yoru,
talk about sushi,
one last thing. The
yeah.
Asa and Yoru moment, Asa power scaling. She she took control from
She
Yoru.
did.
She wasn't, she wasn't afraid to the point where Yoru completely lost control. She was mad. She channeled her anger into taking over the hand. She took over
Yeah.
the arm and the hand, and she fucking beat
I
the
think
shit
that's
out of
an
Yoru.
interesting. That's interesting that she can use her body while still you're being in control.
It's a development, you
Not
know.
many people talk about it, but it's a development. Yeah.
I mean that last panel of 167 where the scar disappears. People talking about them starting to merge. Yeah,
Well, maybe Fujimoto forgot to draw the scar. Maybe we'll see. Like, are you sure?
not on a page of that size. There's no,
Mm,
there's no. Did you see that panel with the
yeah, I saw.
line
It's
down the
huge.
face? It's
Yeah.
huge, and there's a big white line in the middle just to be like, I didn't forget. Like, look, I put this big thing here. just to let you know that I was paying attention.
All right, but if it's gonna be changed in the digital release, like official release of Volume 18, then we'll
Then I'll
see.
then I'll eat my words. But I don't think
Yeah,
so. I
yeah,
think
but
this
we'll
is.
see. We'll see.
It could have also been a little hint about the fact that the scars are like only visible to the audience, but I'm not sure about that.
It
I
could
don't know.
be.
Maybe.
I think it's like it's a second of when Denji like, you know, I think that's when he climaxes. But who knows?
Yeah.
It could be
Uh,
interpreted in many ways.
we will see, but it definitely. I mean, this moment with Asa and Yoru, we see that it's you know there is more fusion happening. They're controlling the body at the same time in this moment,
Yeah,
right? That's never happened before. So if that was a symbol of like something changing with Asa and Yoru, then that does make sense with this moment here. And people were talking about this moment as a metaphor for like self harm in
I
the
agree. I think it is in a
yeah,
way.
in
That
the
reminds me
aftermath.
when in the Falling arc, Yoru was trying to make Asa feel pain so she won't think about like those awful things. And now Asa's the one beating Yoru.
Being Yoru out of a sense of shame. That's where I think
Yeah,
the like slut translation is actually good. If you
I think
think of it
so
as
too.
that like the self
She
harm,
really blames herself about what
you
happened
know,
and what she did.
the disgust
Yeah,
that because Asa's a victim, right? And she feels disgusted with
right.
herself for being victimized in this way.
Yeah,
And you know,
yeah.
she's thinking of it as, you know, now she's dirty, now she's a bad woman, you know, and
Yeah, yeah. She
hurting
really
herself
does
about it.
think of herself that way. She like she quickly jumps to conclusions about what he'll think about her and what others will think when they find out. She's
Yeah.
really frustrated with herself, maybe for not being able to do anything, or just, I don't know, being that way now, right? Because of Yoru.
You know, and she'd been riding pretty high up until this very moment, right? Like she'd been feeling
Yeah,
herself. She was like the hero of the city. She blew up her whole fucking apartment. You know, she
she was
became
trying to
one.
play hero,
Yeah, she's trying to
trying.
save Chance. This was, she was gonna save him. You know, she was
Well,
gonna
she was
save him no
trying to
matter
save him
what.
for.
Oh God.
She wasn't trying to save him for his sake, right? She was trying to save him from inevitably having to kill him and like destroying his life again. She wanted to prevent that, and now she's just doing
Right.
something so much worse,
Right,
right?
and you know, it's similar to, you know, Denji's idealization of sex. It's like she had this idealization of being a savior, being the hero. You know, she wants to save him because she always failed to save people before. She failed to save Yuko,
Yeah,
failed to save, you
her
know, her
cat.
mother died because she tried to save Clambon, and then Clambon died anyway. Oh God! So you know she has this
She
whole
can't
thing.
save
She
anyone, and
needs.
yeah, that's what's driving her now. She wants to save. She wants to do something.
Oh
It's like she feels like she's always been useless, and this is the only thing that can give her meaning now.
yeah. Now you're fucking fucked it up.
She doubles down. She doubles down and makes her life even worse. Like what she's been so scared of, what Asa has been scared of, so like intimacy, which is like, I
Yeah.
know this is like a transition to sushi, but like maybe fish, it's kind of connected with fish that she has a problem with intimacy. It's like she's scared
Mm,
of being vulnerable, but at the same time she wants to connect with others.
yeah.
I think
I
it that's where it translates to as intimacy.
I think you're on to something here. So let's talk about Death by Sushi. Asa and Denji are fucking zoned the fuck out on the train. They are
Yeah.
in complete shock from Yoru's evil deeds. Denji is probably losing the hope of all of his existence. His entire worldview is shattered.
Yeah.
Asa is back, back into a cycle of self-loathing that she had
And self
crawled out of.
isolation.
Uh,
Self
God.
isolation. Look at, like, she's absolutely not anywhere near Denji.
It's and she's not even near the rest of the crew who's sitting on
Yeah.
the side
Yeah.
with Denji there. Um, but we're getting sushi. Death by sushi. Okay, man. Okay.
Sushi.
Yeah,
He thinks it's so
sushi.
funny. He
Yep.
thinks it's so hilarious.
He's, you're such a little ooh. And of
Yeah.
course, we have our little flags there, the jumbo salmon roe and raw fish testes, which people were talking
It's
about like,
time for
like,
trivia.
yeah, we were talking about what the hell is this? That's real stuff, folks. You know what I mean? Uh, he, I have a feeling that he's been cooking this sushi motif this whole time, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I ever since the date arc, it's been on.
You know, she doesn't. Asa doesn't like raw fish because it looks too much like a dead animal. We're talking about death by sushi here. The
Yeah.
raw flesh of the animal you kill and consume, and then you've got the roe and the testes there as just to like bring
Yeah.
it in with sexuality and intimacy. Like, come on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying about fish and asa. It has to be some kind of like it has to be connected to intimacy, right?
Yeah,
Especially because food and chainsaw man is such an important point.
right, especially like eating the flesh, eating raw flesh,
Eating raw flesh, right?
being connected with intimacy is something we've seen again and again. We saw it in even the house fire fight when Denji was going to town
The flesh of
on
spear, right?
spear, right? And everyone was like, "Yo, this is kind of
I think
freaky."
the
It's like,
most
"Yep,
interesting, yeah, yeah, you like it was insane to see how he just devours him. Like it was scary. I think what's interesting is like the most obvious sign the fish like sushi translates to intimacy is what Fumiko says. I could eat sushi every day.
okay." So we're talking about sushi, death, intimacy, da 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 da.
Yep.
You're feeling it. Fumiko, Death Devil. It's on the line. It's
Okay, no,
happening.
no, no.
I'm telling
I
you.
don't believe in Fumiko's Death Devil theory. I think
Why?
she. I don't. I just don't. Okay. I think it would be too corny. It
Too
would fit Fujimoto,
corny.
but it would be just yeah.
Too corny for Tatsuki Fujimoto. Be so
Yeah.
for real. Be so
I
for
am
real.
so for you. I am so for you.
I
The
think there's
closest Fumiko can be is like maybe summoning death. Okay, that's like the closest.
look. Okay. Ever since part two started, I have had my strong stance on the nature of um the horse sisters, including Makima, because the only thing we know about their nature is Yoru. This is the only explicit description we have of a horseman of the apocalypse, which is a devil that occupies the body of a human. Like a fiend, but somehow different. More human than that. Not necessarily, deleting completely the underlying human being. Somehow more of a mix, right?
Right.
I think it's all four. All four. This is how they are. This is how they exist. They have
Yeah.
some devil form, like a little bird or whatever, but then they move through the world, you know, utilizing the bodies of humans, right?
Maybe. Yeah. Do you think she's like a pawn in
Who?
Death's like Fumiko?
Fumiko. I think so. That was in there. Fumiko's family died, right? She died,
Well, maybe.
right?
I'm still not sure, but
Like, it's
it's
kind of weird that, like, her whole family dies when her house is destroyed and she's just fine.
yeah.
Ooh. Well, maybe she
Maybe
came
she's
back to
lying.
life. Okay, maybe she's lying, but sure.
I mean,
You know what I mean? You see what I mean? The Death Devil, they're on the scene, ready to get into action because her sister's making moves, right? Chainsaw Man is here. All of these horse sisters have have different relationships to Chainsaw Man, some kind of relationship with Chainsaw Man because they fought him long
yeah.
ago. And they've been scheming and plotting ever since. And like we've got, you know, three of the horse sisters control War and Fami right here, and it's like, oh, there's a fourth one. I wonder who that's gonna be. And then there's like this mysterious woman with unknown devil powers who has a weirdly influential position in public safety. And public safety seems very aware of the existence of the Death Devil even before it was revealed. Look. This is not.
Well, I don't know. I personally don't really believe in that theory, but it's worth. It's like it's worth holding on to it. Maybe you're right. Maybe, but
Death
I
by
don't think it
Sushi
is.
be so for real right now. Sushi
I don't
woman.
think.
Death by
I don't think.
Sushi.
Wait, isn't Death by Sushi? It's like it sounds like a lyric from Maximum Hormone.
I would not be
I don't know.
surprised. I don't know their discography that
I'm
deep.
not. I don't know either, but like maybe.
I did ask the Japanese community if there is such a sushi restaurant. They answered no. That would be a terrible name for a sushi restaurant.
I
I
wonder
think,
who's sponsoring this sushi restaurant.
yeah, this is part of the Fujimoto conglomerate in universe. Definitely, he definitely owns these.
All right, what are your predictions for next chapter?
Predictions. I mean, I just laid it all out. I think Fumiko's gonna be there. I think we're gonna have the the start of things. I how does he write like this? It can happen anytime. That's the thing. Everyone's just like, it's not gonna happen this chapter. I'm like, yeah,
And then it happens.
yep. That's what I mean. It's
Like,
like, of course not. Of course, it's not gonna happen this chapter, right? And then, like, but it can happen anytime. There's
I
never
feel like
any guarantee.
if you're insane like Fujimoto, like if you're insane enough, you're gonna go through all of part two and notice all of this like setups, and then you can figure out what's gonna happen. Like, there's obviously so many clues, right?
Yes, but it's just too weird.
Yeah.
Like, his idea is are just too weird. Like, the Justice Devil actually being the Fire Devil, like a devil using a fake name. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It obviously makes sense to do, but like, that's so weird. But then all the signs are there, right? The fire imagery is
Right.
all over, and like, damn, it's crazy.
Yeah.
This one, yeah, I mean, Sushi, I think the obvious foreshadowing is a Fumiko reappearance. She was directly involved with Denji being captured by public safety, another thing that suggests he's a death devil, because if Chainsaw Man is the only way to stop the death devil, then they're probably pretty interested in keeping Chainsaw Man locked up. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, I'm just going with the obvious thing. Fumiko's going to be there. It's just going to start going down. She's the death devil. It's popping off. It's over. Death by Sushi.
All right.
Zuzu.
All right.
That's what I'm taking. I'm crazy. I
That's all right. I think Fujimoto
ball.
would have a little laugh at your predictions, but it's the same for all of us, right? It would be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so funny. Let me text Lynn about it.
I think I have to swing for the fences every time because it can happen anytime. Like, if you want to be right about the moment that it happens, you have to go big every single time because it can happen. You can do it whenever you want. You can do it right now.
Yeah. I think my predictions for next chapter, I think what's gonna happen is not it like maybe it's gonna be at the end of like some kind of death setup for death sister apocalypse, right? There's gonna be some kind of setup at the end, but I think
Sure.
Fami is gonna actually reveal the plan to Denji about the apocalypse.
You think so?
That's what I think. I think, yeah. I think it's the like it's the timing is kind of perfect, where everyone gathers around and
Yeah.
she finally has the chance to talk about it with him.
Yeah. It makes sense in that, like, in terms of the narrative thus far, there's one thing Denji wanted to take care of. In the worst possible way, it's been taken care of. And then there's the other thing, he was hungry. That's going to be taken care of. Eat some sushi.
Yeah.
So, it's time for Chainsaw Man, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's get
yeah.
this apocalypse on the road, right?
About
Like,
that,
Chainsaw
I
Man.
think neither will be able to eat, like, at all. I've said
Mmm.
this before in the comments, but I
Mmm.
really do think they won't be able to eat. Like, to further, like, if it gets confirmed that the theory of, like, raw fish and intimacy, then I'm gonna win. But if not, it's like, alright.
I mean,
I think
yeah,
it
they
was
put
still
the
very interesting.
salmon roe center of the last panel here, just to really fucking
You think it's so funny. I
he
really
thinks
think
he thinks everything's a fucking game.
well, for him it is. I feel
It
like
is.
part two especially, it's like a major fuck you to all the fans.
Oh yeah, it's a
It's
major like
it starts off with a new protagonist. It gets complicated. It's not like it
yeah
doesn't have a lot of battles.
it doesn't have
It's
a straightforward structure either.
it doesn't have yeah, it doesn't have a straightforward
There's
structure.
there's
It
not.
has messy relationships that are like
Yeah,
they aren't between
he's in
public safety
his
anymore.
he's in his full on like watch this bag. You know what I mean? Like shut up. You
Yeah,
don't know what I'm
yeah.
doing. You don't get it. Okay. I'm not doing normal shit.
Yeah,
I'm doing something
dude,
else.
especially with the one shot that he published right before publishing part two, it's so obvious. He just fucking hates his fans. But when you look at Twitter, you just see him apologizing to all the fans. Like, I remember he was reviewing Look Back not too long ago, right? A couple of
Mm,
days ago, and he was trying to write a tweet, but he was messing up every time. And he was trying to say like, "Sorry, sorry, everyone." It's so
yeah,
funny to see.
I remember when he was doing live reacts to Chainsaw Man, and he didn't ever do a thread. He would tweet like
Yeah.
40 tweets, like one tweet every 2 minutes, and it's like make a
Okay, but
thread,
to be
man.
honest, that's the
Somebody tell him about
appropriate
threads.
that's the appropriate reaction to Chainsaw Man
It's true. He
anime.
got very excited.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Predictions in the books. That's coming in a couple weeks here. This is another great episode talking about man, another huge chapter. I feel like we're in for it now. I feel like, you know, we have, we've
We have
just hit,
entered a certain arc.
we've just hit the first drop on this roller coaster. We've been
Yep.
riding this roller coaster. That falling devil was the first big like boom crash,
Yep.
and now
Yep.
we've been riding this thing for over like a year now, almost like a year and a half
It's
of
crazy.
yeah, almost like 15 months probably of just this building and
I
building
think
and
it's
building.
the setup
Even
for Denji and NASA and all of the complex situation they're in. Like,
yeah,
I think what if the first major drop was the falling devil, then the next one was when Denji's house burned, and now
yeah,
it's a second, like the
yeah,
third one.
yeah. Now I think we're in a long descent. We're going down.
Yep, yep, we're
This is
going
it.
right down, down,
W-
down, down, down.
We're going to hell. Literally. Hell,
Funny you say that.
yeah, hell is coming. Okay. We will
Oh,
be
wait,
back
right
with
before that, remind me, when is the Look Back movie supposed to screen?
Look Back movie um begins screening in all over
Internationally,
Japan.
by the way.
Internationally,
Haven't you heard?
it's happening.
Yeah, Lin was talking about it. He literally tweeted that it's going internationally.
Um,
I'm not
he
sure how it's supposed to go, but
he was talking about he hopes it gets screened internationally.
oh,
Yeah, he wants it to get screened internationally. I don't know
well,
if those
all of us do.
conversations have happened yet. It probably depends on how well it does domestically. I can't imagine it's gonna do bad. I mean, I'm gonna be on a plane flying
Yeah,
over there to go see it about
dude,
a week away.
you gotta buy the storyboards for the look back,
I feel like they're gonna be sold out by the time I land. Like it's gonna
and
be
that's.
a whole week has already passed. I mean, maybe
You think
not.
they're gonna bring more?
I don't know how many Fujimoto hardcore
Wait,
fans
now
out
that
there.
I think about it, you gotta visit his hometown. You gotta visit his
His
hometown.
hometown, that's kind of far. I don't really care, but
Damn.
it's just a town.
What's the, but what about the parasocial relationship with Fujimoto?
I mean, I kind of don't really care about this guy.
Damn.
I will make sure I will try to hit every single 7-Eleven in Tokyo one time though, just to optimize my chances of just running into him at the counter. You know what I mean? I'll let you know. I'll be like, you're right about watermelon, my dude. It fucking rules,
Yeah.
and that's all I'll say. But I doubt that will happen. Probably not.
But you can never know, you know.
Actually, my parents asked me, they're like, "Are you gonna meet him?" I was like, "No, what? That's how." Sure, I would love to.
I mean,
Yeah, I'll just fucking
everyone would
walk
love
up
to,
to
but
him.
like
Yeah, he
the
never does
problem is
any fan meets or nothing.
I don't think
It,
he needs to. I don't
Shira,
think that.
Shirahama's coming out to fucking LA to meet the fans, do signing.
Yeah.
We got no
I
fucking
think
signed Fujimoto goods in circulation because this dude just. Anyway, whatever. We don't need to go into that.
no, because there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. I think the way he writes, it just makes people so angry.
That's true.
He's scared he's gonna
He
get killed.
knows.
So
I mean,
it it's a fair. I think it's fair to be
dude.
scared of people.
Yeah. People are pretty weird, especially the Japanese fandom can get pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's very understandable reasons that he's not the only one who is like this, right? Gege is like this as well.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Well, at least Gege can go in a cosplay, but Fujimoto is like absolutely
no,
not.
I mean he's also just a lazy king, right? He's so fucking lazy. I love him.
Yeah.
He's just like me
Yeah.
for real. Uh, but yeah, it's regardless. This is a great episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Zuzu, for coming in at the last moments here to fill in some
course.
slots and do a two-person discussion. This was a great discussion of Asa and Disaster. Disaster
I'm looking
will...
forward to more disasters
Yeah.
because there's gotta be some kind of silver lining, right? There's gotta be.
Maybe.
I mean, when Yoru gets revealed and like
It's gonna
all this
get...
batch crazy stuff,
It's gonna
it
get
just
worse.
the way Fujimoto writes, it's
Yep.
gonna get worse. It's gonna get better, then worse again. But that's what makes it so interesting. I think people forget
I will say, in part one, once things start going bad, they just keep going bad until the very end. It is literally Nayuta is in the very last chapter, and the hope of that relationship is in the very last panel of the part one story. It's gonna be a long road till
will be a long
we
road.
get to can we ever get back? Well, probably not.
I think it's
next
similar
time.
to Fire Punch. Like especially with
Yeah.
the it starts bad and it just keeps going, going and going. Like maybe something good happens, but it's like it gets taken away right away and it just keeps going. And I think that's interesting. It just now it's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah. Death by Sushi. It is coming here in one more week. We got a break week next week. I'm sure he's planning some absolutely devious, devilish, horrible things for
I
us, the
wonder how
fandom.
he's writing so much. Like, does he keep like I don't know, does he keep like a detective like wall of writing? I'm not sure how it
I'm sure. I mean,
works.
sure he's got notebooks or spreadsheets or something. For this
Well, yeah,
one, for part one, I think he was just fucking balling out of control. But for part two, I think
yeah,
he. I mean,
he's
there's too
planning it.
much. Yeah, there's too much. He has to have plans. Which is mostly. I imagine that's most of what he does on the breaks. Is like write the stuff, which is whenever people
That
complain
would
about.
make sense. That
Yeah,
would make sense,
when
especially with how his art looks, right?
yeah,
It would make sense.
when people are like, "Oh, he's taking breaks, but the art looks bad," I'm like, guys, he has to write this shit. Dude, the writing is crazy right now, but not everyone agrees.
Yep.
That is what it is. We will be back in 2 weeks discussing the next chapter when it comes out. I will be preparing to go to Tokyo at that time, and we'll talk about what's going to happen with the broadcast. But there will be an episode next week. We'll talk about some, probably just more yapping about all of the stuff that's been going on in the story in recent times, because there's still so much to say. We said a lot today,
Yeah.
but there's still so much more. Chainsaw Man is so fucking good.
It's so dense.
Yeah, it's crazy. We will be back with more of that stuff to chew through next time. Thank you all for listening.
Yep.
Goodbye.